everyone, it's Sarah from sarahannCreations.blogspot.com. Today I wanted to continue my little mini DIY wedding series and share with you what my husband and I did for our wedding centerpieces. Now, if you're currently planning your wedding or you just had your wedding, you know how expensive centerpieces can be. I mean, with adding fresh flowers, candles, things like that, it can really add up. Now, centerpieces are also really based on your budget as well as the look that you're going for your wedding. Now, if you're going for a really extravagant wedding or you really want the ooh-ah factor, you probably will go with larger centerpieces. However, for our wedding, we wanted more of a rustic look. So this is the centerpiece we came up with, well, that I came up with. At first, I loved the idea. I was like, oh, that'll look so cute on the tables. And then when it was like the day of the wedding, I saw everything come together. And I was like, wow, those are really small. That's going to look really bad. But it actually turned out to be really nice. One thing I know I hate when I go to weddings is when the centerpiece on the table is so huge that you can't even talk to people across the table. Now, our wedding had a lot of family and friends, and a lot of the family knew each other, so I wanted them to be able to talk and have a discussion over the table versus, having to talk around the centerpiece. So this turned out to be really nice, and it also gave it a really nice glow to the room, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. So I just wanted to go over the parts of the centerpiece. Since it's very simple, it was pretty inexpensive. I would say maybe like $12 to $15 per table. And we only had like 10 tables, so it was really budget friendly since our wedding was small. So let me try and not make you sick and show you the pieces and what we did. So let me remove these first. Okay, so first of all, we wanted like wood slices for the centerpieces. And if you've ever looked online for wood slices, you know that people want a lot for them. I was looking at places that wanted anywhere from like $10 all the way up to like $20, $25. And there was no way I was going to spend that. So we went on a hunt for wood. And we had the hardest time finding anything. And then one day, my parents' neighbor said that he needed to cut down his tree. So that was the perfect opportunity. My dad actually asked for the wood from the tree, and we marked off like 1.5 inches. I think it's about 1.5 or 1.25. Not 100% positive on that. But we marked it off of the larger stump of wood, and my dad took his chainsaw and cut each and every slice. And I think we cut about 25, 26 of them, roughly. And then I brought them all home and let them sit out and dry completely. Because when they still have water running through them, they're super heavy. So I let them dry completely, and they got extremely light. So once they were dry, I took like a palm sander, and I just sanded it down so it was kind of smooth. Now, these gouges and things from the chainsaw, you're not going to be able to get those out unless you really have a powerful sander. And these cracks and things will happen. I think it just gives it more of a rustic look. So once I sanded it down, I then bought some polyurethane. Now, the polyurethane isn't food friendly or anything like that, so don't put food on it. But I coated each and every piece 4 times on one side, and then 4 times on the other. Of course, you'll do one coat, let it dry the recommended time, and then do another coat and continue until you've completed however many coats you want. We actually used a glossy polyurethane, which turned out really nice. It just gave it a little pop. And the candlelight and the lights in the room kind of just gleamed off of it, so it was really nice. So you do 4 coats on one side and 4 coats on the other side. And make sure to follow the directions on your polyurethane. So then we went with the mason jar look. So let me get the mason jars back in here. Okay, so we wanted to go with the mason jar look, and we actually purchased the mason jars from specialtybottle.com. They're really, really inexpensive, and they're completely flat mason jars, so they don't have any decals in them or like ball jar, or it doesn't have any writing in them, so they're completely flat. And we got 16 ounce, these are the 16 ounce, and then the 32 ounce. So we did 2 16 ounce on each centerpiece, and then a 32 ounce on each centerpiece. And then for the decorations on the jars themselves, we bought some black burlap from Joann's, which we also used on the Save the Dates. And then the ribbon we purchased, it's scarlet ribbon, and we purchased that from Tea Party Ribbons on Amazon.com, and that was exactly the color I was going for the reds, so it came out perfect. And all we did was attach the burlap with my ATG gun, so you don't have to hot glue it. Especially if you want to reuse these later, like say you just want to take it off and reuse the jars later for something else. That's what we did. And then, to add some weight to the bottom of the jars so that they didn't tip over when we filled them with water, we put some of those marbles from Hobby Lobby in the bottom. And you don't have to fill it all the way up. We just did it to about here on each one, just to make sure it weighted it down some in case someone accidentally bumped the table. They wouldn't go all over the place. So then all we did was we filled the mason jars up to about here on each one of them. And we purchased these like little 2-inch floating candles from quickcandles.com, and they weren't that expensive either. I mean, you have to be aware that you will be paying a price for these things, but compared to like if you were to buy all of them from Hobby Lobby or Joann's or something, you're gonna pay considerably less. So online. So we bought a bunch of these, and we just put them right in the water. Like that. And all of them would have it, of course. And when your reception was getting ready to start, you would have someone dedicated to light all of them. I believe our caterer actually lighted these for us, but you could also dedicate a family member to do it for you. And they were all lit, and when we came in for the reception, the whole room had a glow. Now, when I originally came up with this idea, I just thought, oh, well, these will be lit and it'll just look pretty. It'll have little specks of light. Well, what actually happened is when each and every one of these candles is lit, these marbles down here, somehow the light comes down and diffuses through these, so you almost have like a glow across the entire tabletop, and that was gorgeous. So it turned out way better than I expected. And I got so many compliments on the centerpieces for our wedding. But yeah, that's basically what we did for all of our centerpieces. Our head table had a different look to it, and the cake table had a different look, of course. But that's pretty much what all the guest tables had. And they really weren't that expensive. So if you have any questions about where I purchased some of these things, just let me know, and I guess I will see you next time. Bye.